So thank you for being on, and we're going to move right to the training tonight. We have asked April Hurst, and if you're on Facebook at all, you've got to be impressed with what this lady is doing. I mean, she turned an event, it looked like today or yesterday, from, I'm not sure what it was going to be, but she suspected it was going to be a lot of women. She ended up doing the whole Ladies of Justice routine and presentation there, and maybe she'll mention that when we introduce her and she gets going. But I just know that April Hurst is fantastic at contacting people and setting appointments.
Her and Rob both. I mean,
well, they both are for sure.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but I want them to hear from a woman tonight. So, although Rob's going to be on later, talking to us about the book, which is fantastic. I've already read a lot of it for this month. So, April Hurst, for those of you who are new, need to know that she's a network vice president, as you heard Norma talking about that. She's the network vice president of Ohio and Indiana, and I'm not sure, she was West Virginia and Western Pennsylvania. A lot of responsibility that taking that position and doing incredible events. I've heard other people, other leaders in the area, not just in the United States, not even our area, talking about the events that the Hurst team puts on. Like they are top notch.
They're most professional.
Yeah.
They go to, and home office obviously loves them to death because they get them to perform. So.
Yeah, and they've always got great speakers. So anyway, if you're blessed to be in the area where they're doing their events and so forth, you are really blessed. I want you to know that for the year of 2018, they were number 2 in personal up ranks. Now, y'all, that's somebody you want to listen to, right? Number 2 in the company in personal up ranks. And they have been awarded the 1,000 app award, meaning they've marketed personally over their tenure here, 1,000 memberships. And they've recruited a ton of people. I don't have that number, but that would be impressive too, I'm sure. So April, I know you've been working on this and putting it together. You are an incredible trainer, and the team is really looking forward to hearing you.
Awesome. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I get a chance to talk about one of my favorite things ever, which is contacting and inviting and prospecting. And so I'm really honored, privileged. It's always an honor to get an opportunity to share amongst our family, because this is where we get an opportunity to grow and to develop as a professional. And I love, and please, whether you're new or old in the business, you absolutely have to get the book GoPro in your library. Because GoPro is seriously the Bible as it relates to contacting and inviting. And so I'm going to touch on it, but I can promise you that if you master the principles inside of GoPro, you will become a master prospector and a master contactor and inviter, okay? So definitely make sure you get that book, GoPro by Eric Worre. So, but thank you again, Mr. and Mrs. Aucoin, and all the leaders on the line tonight. There are people who are probably even better than me at contacting and inviting, specifically Nick Odom, who is probably the best in the entire Boris family organization at it. I would say I'm great at it, but I'm really good at making new friends, like probably one of the best at making new friends. And I didn't used to be, but I learned the skill over time. I went from following a woman around Marshall Fields, which is now Macy's, the first time I ever went cold prospecting, and literally followed her around the purses, the belts, and the scarves for 45 minutes and couldn't bring myself to open my mouth. I went from that to being able to almost effortlessly do 5 to 7 exposures in a day without really a whole lot of mental effort. It just started to become automatic. So how do you go from chasing somebody around the purse section in Macy's to being good at contacting someone that you don't even know, right? To actually building a quick relationship with them and asking them to take a look at our opportunity. So I'm going to talk about what that looks like, whether you're new in the business and you're contacting kind of your hot and warm market, or for those of us that maybe have been around for a while and we have contacted most of our hot and warm market, and we're working more now kind of in our cool and cold market, right? To continuously make those people warm, because if we make a friend, they become warm instantly, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but if you're taking notes, I'm going to start with a quote from my one of my favorite people inside the world of Legal Shield, such a good friend of mine, which is the great Kevin Mack, six-figure earner and Millionaire Club member. He always says, the most important activity in a networker's day is prospecting. The most important activity in a networker's day is prospecting. And so we have to get good at prospecting, whether that is our hot in our warm market and or our cool in our cold market, right? And so what I'm going to be talking about is a principle I learned from Michael Klaus many years ago, who I think to this day is a senior or a silver executive director in Legal Shield. And he always talked about, you've got to find people to talk to, and then you got to know how to talk to the people that you find. You got to find people to talk to, and then you got to talk to the people that you find. And so what does that look like? So I'm going to start with the hot and the warm. So the hot market, if you think of this as like circles, your hot market is like the tightest circle. If you were to like draw a circle on your sheet of paper, that's your hot. Your warm is the next circle out, right? The cool is what I like to call like the acquaintances, or just people you haven't talked to in a really long time. These are like the old high school, junior high friends. You maybe are just connected on Facebook, or maybe you have mutual friends with people, but you've never met them in person. And then you have the cold market, which are the people that you don't know, right? So when you're brand new and you're first getting started, I know there's a lot of new folks on the line, you want to start in the innermost circle, which is your hot and your warm market, because these are the people that will probably listen to you just because they know your name. Just because they know your name, they will listen to what you have to say, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about how that might look, okay? I see Mara's beautiful face there. So let's just say that Mara and I go to church together. She's like my really good church friend. We see each other every Sunday. We're in Bible study together. Our kids are in, little Bible classes together, right? So it's like Mara is my friend, right? We maybe even grab dinner once or twice a week or whatever, right? So she is my really good church friend. So she is my hot market. We've been going to the same church together for probably 10 years or so. So she's in my hot market. So I'm brand new with Legal Shield, right? I would call up Mara, ring, ring. Hey, Mara, what's going on? Oh, not much, girl. Like, we're going to talk like how we always talk, right? I'm not going to change my language or my personality just because I started my Legal Shield business, right? So I'm just going to call Mara and I'm going to talk to her how I always talk to Mara. Hey, Mara, what's going on? It's April. How are you? Oh, not much, April. What's going on with you? Not much, but hey, real quick, girl, I just wanted to call you real fast because I want to see what was on your schedule Thursday night at 7 o'clock. So we're always checking availability first. And she'll say, oh, well, nothing right now. Okay, awesome. Look, I recently got started with a new project that I'm really excited about. It's this new mobile app that I'm really excited to share with a few close friends and family. And I'm actually having a few people over my house Thursday night at 7. And look, it may or may not even make sense to you, but it would just mean the world to me just to have your support. So could you swing by just for an hour and support what I'm doing? Oh, and by the way, bring Jana from church. It would be awesome if you and Jana could come together, right? So Mara's going to come straight on relationship because Mara and I know each other. We're good friends. And that would be a contact and inviting to like a private business reception or a launch event or maybe your launch social or something of that sort, right? So that's how we would do that. Let's say that we were to do an invitation to, let's just say, the launch of a Zoom call, right? It would look almost exactly the same, Okay. But let's just say that I'm contacting somebody that I look up to, right? So maybe this is, I don't know, my dad's really good friend who maybe owns a business or two. He knows me. I know him. He has seen me grow up, has seen me grow up and develop. So now this is an opportunity for me to share Legal Shield with him. And let's just say it is a Zoom call. So let's just say I'm calling up Nick. Nick is my dad's friend. Hey, Mr. Odom, and I would probably call him Mr. Odom, right? Because he's probably older than me. Hey, Mr. Odom, it's April. I'm, John Starr. Of course I know you, April. What's going on? Not much. Hey, Mr. Odom, I'm actually giving you a call because I've always really respected the success that you've had in business. And I know you and my dad have known each other for years. And I've always admired your ability to kind of like spot trends, and you're just a really, really sharp person I've always looked up to. It would really mean the world to me if I could get your help. Help is a key word for these people that we look up to, because they love to help people, because this is their opportunity to share all of their wisdom and their knowledge and expertise, right? And so, hey, Mr. Oda, mean the world to me if I could get your help. What can I help you with? Well, let me ask you a question. What are you doing Thursday night at 7? Do you have anything on your schedule in the evening after dinner? No, I don't have anything. Okay, well, awesome. Well, look, I recently got started with a new business, and honestly, I'm still really new. And I'm actually going to have one of my colleagues who's going to share the information with a couple close friends and old college friends of mine. And I really would love if you could hop on just for about 20 minutes and just provide to me your total honest feedback on this project that I'm working on, right? And so that's how I would contact and invite somebody that I look up to. We call those kind of our reds, right? And so that's what I would do there. And then, you know, with the people that maybe I went to high school with, or the people I go to college with, these are kind of more like my warm type market. It would look very similar, right, to the invitation that I just gave to Mara. But let's just say they're long distance and I wanted to send them a video. So what would that look like? Let's just say I'm calling Victor. And I'm just picking people's names on the screen. But let's just say I'm calling Victor, right? So if I'm calling Victor, Victor and I know each other, but maybe we haven't spoken in a little bit, right? But we have each other's number. I might call Victor and say, hey, Victor, it's April. What's going on? Oh my gosh, April, I haven't heard from you in months. How is your life? Oh, life is amazing. You know, how's your business life? How's personal life? Everything is great. Awesome. Well, look, I am so looking forward to catching up with you. And I really, really want to schedule that time, because I know you're probably at work right now. But I wanted to call you really quickly because I am working on a new project. Oh, really? What project are you working on? Well, look, I am actually doing some expanding with my business marketplace. We just say that person lives in Denver. I'm doing some expanding in the Denver area, and I thought about you because I know it looks like, according to LinkedIn, you've been out there for the last 4 to 6 months. And I'm looking for people in that area who may be interested in partnering with my company on a part-time or a full-time basis. This may or may not even be for you, Victor, and honestly, it probably isn't. But as you're kind of getting acquainted with people in Denver, you may know some people that I could help. So if I sent you a video to take a look at, Victor, could you take a look at it for me? Oh yeah, well, how long is it? Oh, it's really short. It's less than 20 minutes. Okay, so you could probably look at it like on your lunch break or something. Okay, yeah, I think I could do that. Awesome. So when do you think you might be able to take a look at that video, Victor? Oh, I could probably take a look at it at lunch tomorrow. Okay, so I don't know, you take lunch, what, around noon? Yeah, normally a little later, 12:30. Awesome. So it'll probably take you about 20 minutes. If I called you by 1, would you have looked at it by then? Yeah, I'd look at it by then. Okay, awesome. So I'm just going to put in my calendar real quick to just give you a call tomorrow at 1 o'clock. All right. And you have that in your calendar too, Victor? Yeah. Okay, awesome. I'm going to call you back at 1. That's my follow-up appointment. Okay, with somebody that I sort of know. I already told them that I want to catch up with them in a little bit more detail. But right now, my most urgent thing is I'm expanding in Denver. You've been in Denver for 6 months, and I would love the opportunity to share with you some information. I'm totally taking Victor off the hook, letting him know it may or may not even be for him, but he may know people that we can help. Okay, and so that's basically what that looks like, family, with kind of our hot and our warm market. If you are new, though, I would highly encourage you to make these phone calls with someone in your support team. Traditionally, when we're working with new associates, you know, we want to be able to, whether they're long distance or they're local to us. I know Rob was at a call party tonight, actually helping people contact and invite for Russell Peden here in Cincinnati this weekend. By the way, we do have $300,000 income earner, Russell Peden, in Cincinnati this weekend, should you know anyone. But I know that he was working with a bunch of new associates this evening. And it's great when you can actually have somebody with you kind of coaching and mentoring you in that conversation, okay? Versus you trying to do it on your own. I also suggest role playing with that person, what that conversation looks like before you actually make the first phone call, okay? So the biggest message there is new folks, don't try and make those calls on your own. Certainly work with someone in your support team to do that, okay? So that's essentially what that contact and inviting process looks like for your hot market, also for your warm market, whether you're inviting them to a Zoom call, a private business reception, a launch social, whatever, right? So that's what that looks like for hot and warm. Let's talk a little bit about the cool and even the cold. So there's going to come a point when your hot and warm list might be 300 to maybe 400 people. You've kind of cycled through those people several times over maybe a year or two. And what we always want to be doing, whether we're still working in our warm and hot market, or if we're in our cold market, we always want to be adding no less than 2 people a day to our list. So this is kind of where I get excited because I love making new friends, as I talked about in the beginning. Where do we go to find more people to talk to? Okay. And I've kind of discovered some strategies over the years because when I first moved back to Cincinnati, I didn't really know anybody. I started my business in Chicago, but when I moved back to Cincinnati, I had one person on my team. That was my brother. He was a director, but that's about it. And I had never cold prospected successfully up until that point. So I said, okay, I have got to start building a team here in Cincinnati because I'm showing up at the briefing by myself and I don't like this. And so I had to start making new friends. So the first thing that I did is I went to a couple different sites. First one is Google. The second one was Meetup.com. Google and Meetup.com. I did this when I was in Raleigh, and I think I shared this at the team event. I Googled networking events in Raleigh. And when I did that, I'm talking like hundreds of events popped up over the next like 30, 60, 90 days. If you just did that in your metro area, wherever you live, networking events in whatever city that you live in, I can promise you, you're probably going to find 25 to 50 events happening over the next 30 to 60 days. That's the first thing. Second one, like I said, is meetup.com. I joined different meetup groups of interest that I had, right? So most of you know I'm kind of a wine connoisseur, so I joined a wine group. I like good restaurants, so I joined the Cincinnati, it was called like the Cincinnati Restaurant Meetup Group. So they literally tried a new restaurant every single month. And I mean, they would pack it out. Like 50 to 60 people would show up at these events. If you're a lady in the house, there are massive amounts of women's events in virtually every major market across the country because there's this whole women's movement, not just in Legal Shield, but just really in the country at large. So I can guarantee you will be able to find something related to women because women are starving to be around other like-minded women. So that's pretty easy for the ladies. But even for the guys, you can find, like I see all the time, it doesn't make sense for me to show up there because it's really for guys, but like these bourbon cigar things I see all the time in Cincinnati, right? Not really what I would do, but for guys, that might make sense. So find things that are in relation to the types of things that you enjoy because that's going to be your commonality, right? I love the story that John Drennan told one time when he moved from Michigan. He's a 6-figure earner, by the way. He moved from Michigan to Kentucky because he wanted to move further south and get out of the cold. And he had no network in Louisville, Kentucky. And he literally built an entire new organization from scratch in Louisville. And one of his first ring earners, he met at a wine and chocolate event because he and his wife like wine and chocolate. And it was a lady there who was a corporate trainer. She was kind of burnt out on corporate training. He courted her for about 4.5 months. She got started in the business. She really had a lot of connections on the B2B side, and she became a 50K earner in his business, and he met her at a wine and chocolate event. Okay. So I really do encourage you guys to do that. So another big one is Eventbrite, Eventbrite, eventbrite.com. Eventbrite.com is global. You can literally put in your zip code, your city, state, and you can pull up events that are happening in the next week, in the next month, and I think in the next 3 months in your local market area, right? So eventbrite.com. Oh, big one. I'm gonna show this business card. You probably can't see it, but it says facebook.com/business. So Facebook is doing events all across the country for business owners. They are heavily focused on helping business owners grow their business. So facebook.com/business. And I found this event, guess where? On Facebook. So it showed up as an ad, and it was free to attend. They gave you breakfast, and it was all business owners. All business owners. It was like 350 people, wall to wall, standing room only at this Facebook for Business event, and they didn't even sell anything. It was just educational, how to market your small business better through Facebook. And they brought up a panel of other business owners that market their products and whatever on Facebook. So I just went there to meet people, and I picked up like 4 or 5 business cards. That's one. I went to one today, actually, over lunch, and it was for Damon John. So Damon John was doing his thing, and all the sharks do this stuff, right? Like they sell their success formula, whatever that is, right? And of course, they're trying to sell you a $5,000 package. But I don't go there for that. I go there because in my mind, I'm thinking, these are people who are looking for an opportunity. So I found it on Instagram. It was on Facebook as well. I registered. It's free. I show up, and I'm talking, it's all like 25 to 45, like mostly millennial entrepreneurs. I met a guy today. He makes leather backpacks. He's like 25 years old. I met another woman. She's a massage therapist. Met another woman. She started an event planning company. They all have full-time jobs. They all kind of do something on the side, and they were there for their lunch hour. It was from like 12 to 1:30. But it was awesome. In an hour and a half, I met like 8 people, because all of us who weren't going to drop the $5,000 on the package were like, hey, so what do you do? Hey, so what do you do? And everybody just started exchanging business cards. It was awesome. So pay attention to that stuff. When you see those ads come up on Facebook and on Instagram, just go to meet people. Daniel Sardine, who is a regional manager and the son of Tommy and Ingrid Sardine, we chatted about this down in Orlando, and he went to one of those events. I think it was for one of the other sharks, Kevin O'Leary, and he recruited 3 people out of one of those Kevin O'Leary events. And he said, I just went to network. And those people who couldn't come up with the $10,000, I said, hey, I actually teach people how to do stuff similar to this and make the same kind of money, but you don't got to put up $10,000. And they were like, well, tell me more, right? He got their contact information. Some of them he actually sat down with. The other ones he actually ended up inviting out to a live event. So look for that stuff, okay? Look for that stuff. It shows up in your Facebook feeds, okay? So the other big one is Bumble Biz and Bumble BFF, okay? So Bumble is for people who are single and who are dating. But a lot of people don't know that Bumble has 2 other divisions, Bumble Biz and Bumble BFF. Bumble Biz is for people who are in business, who are looking to connect with other people who are in business. Bumble BFF is for guys and girls who typically, it's people on there who are moving to new cities and they're trying to make friends in their new city. So I'll just give you some context of this. When I lived in Chicago, I didn't know anybody. When I first moved there from Cincinnati, I didn't know anybody. And I actually did this before there was any Bumble BFF. I put an ad on Craigslist saying, women looking for women friends. And I ended up meeting a woman who had moved to Chicago from California, and we ended up connecting. Well, she was trying to do the same thing I was doing. She said, I only moved here because my boyfriend got a job transfer and I'm in real estate, but I don't really want to get a real estate license in Illinois because I don't know how long we're going to be here. So she had all this time on her hands. And so the 2 of us created a group, and she made a dinner reservation at a restaurant on the west side of downtown. And she sent this out to all the women that were responding to our request of women looking to make friends with other women in the city. And do you know at that first dinner, it was like 36 women showed up. who were looking to make new friends. And these were mostly transplants, right? People who got jobs in Chicago and they just didn't know anybody. And out of that group, this is a powerful story. Out of that group of 36, it got down to about 9. Out of that 9, one of the women ended up being my sponsor in Legal Shield. Okay? So that was just women trying to make friends, right? And one of those women was friends with a woman who became my sponsor in Legal Shield, okay? So Bumble Biz, Bumble BFF, and then I am so not the social media expert, but I will give you 2 things that I've been doing lately. Number 1, I've been following hashtags on Instagram, and I learned this because I sat in on a little social media seminar that somebody was doing, like webinar. She said, follow hashtags and find groups that are according to your interests. Follow hashtags. So like you can go to Instagram, search hashtag entrepreneurship, hashtag living my best life, hashtag. So whatever the like buzzwords are for our industry, you could put hashtag that, right? And search it in Instagram, and it will start to pull up all the people who use that hashtag in Instagram. Okay, that's just something recent I've been doing, so I don't have results on this yet, but that was her suggestion. The other one was find groups related to things that are of interest to you on Facebook. So for example, I met a woman in West Virginia when I did their Super Saturday, and we were having a conversation around this, and she was like, oh yeah, I look for groups that are like business women, business girls, like boss babes, all that stuff. And I go in there and I just start liking, commenting. I'm not selling. I'm liking, commenting, friending a few people, you know, and I'm just kind of engaging, right, initially. And then once I engage enough and maybe we have a little dialogue going, comment, like, then I may go ahead and inbox them and start a real conversation that way and then take it offline to a phone call, right? But for those of you who are even more adept at social media than I, you know that a lot of that is about commenting, liking. You got to engage with people. You can't just start spamming and direct messaging people. So really important that you do that, okay? So I'm almost wrapped up here. The last one is join causes, groups, associations that are important to you. So I'm big on serving because that's just what we do here at Legal Shield. I'm big on serving. I'm big on finding things that are important to me and finding a way to serve, especially if it's not a massive time commitment. So I sit on one board. It only meets 4 times a year, but it's 65 people, and it's all really like high-level people in the community, right? And so that's another thing that I suggest doing. And then the other thing I would say is just it's important to be normal and have a life and not just be Legal Shield all of the time, okay? Because we are in the attraction marketing business, and people need to see that you're hanging out with your family, you're doing fun stuff with your kids, you're going on cool trips with these business partners you keep talking about, right? People need to see that you are having a life, okay? That's important, all right? So you're working your business, you're in your hustle, and you're in your grind, but from a social standpoint, people need to see that you are a regular human being because they are regular human beings as well, okay? So that's just kind of a tip. My last tip is today, I'll just give you my best examples today because I cold prospected a lot today. Here was my last exposure. I was in the hair store, right? Getting some hair products and stuff. And I see a woman and she's asking the sales lady questions about different types of products. And she's like, you know, I've got this issue and with my hair. And I said, hey, you know, I don't know if this is right for you, but I use that product right over there. And I grabbed it for her really quick. And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yeah, your curl pattern is kind of similar to mine. Only the girls know what I'm talking about right here, but that's okay. So your curl pattern is similar to mine. And we just started talking about girl stuff, you know, just be normal, right? And she says, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I said, well, where do you get your hair done? And she's like, oh, my sister does. She said, where do you get your hair done? I said, oh, actually, I have a business partner who's doing my hair tomorrow. She said, business partner? What kind of business? And I said, well, let me give you my card. And I gave her my Ladies of Justice card. I typically don't give my Legal Shield card unless I'm at a true business, very businessy type event. But Ladies of Justice, I'll give it all day. So I gave her my Lady of Justice business card. And she was like, wow, so what is this all about? And I said, you know what? I'm happy to send you some information. I've got to run. But tell me what you do. She said, I'm actually not working right now. I'm in transition, but my background was in customer service. I said, awesome. I said, I would love to have a follow-up conversation with you. Here's my card. Let's exchange numbers real quick. I'm going to text you. That's just what I do. Let me text you real quick. What are you, a 513? Or if I'm in Cleveland, are you a 260? Or if I'm in New York, are you a 219? That's how I get everybody's number. And I get the number and I just text them really fast, okay? Because I just say, hey, and I say, hey, this is April from the hair store. We just met, right? And that's how I always remember, okay, this is Kelly from the hair store. Hey, Kelly, it's April. We just met. Okay, that's how I remember and they remember how we met each other. That's just what I do, and I've been doing that for years, okay? So that's my tip. But I always try and find how I can be helpful to somebody or how I can compliment somebody. So at the Damon John event, I saw a guy dressed real sharp. And I was like, oh my gosh, so what'd you think of the event today? He's like, it was great. I just didn't have the $5,000. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, you know what? But honestly, there's so many different ways to generate cash flow to fund your dreams. In fact, that's what I've done. I've been job free since 2012. Oh my gosh, really? Oh my God, I would love to do what I'm doing right now full time. I was like, dude, you're dressed so freaking sharp. Like, are you in fashion? He's like, yeah, I am. He's like, I designed this backpack right here. I was like, awesome. And I said, well, look, let's exchange contact information. I actually have an event coming up this Saturday that I can get you the information to if you're free. But in the meantime, I'm going to text you. Okay, his name was Kendall. Kendall, are you a 513? No, actually, I'm a 614. I'm from Columbus. Okay, awesome. 614-423-6589. Okay, awesome. I'm texting you right now. I'm going to give you a call tomorrow and get you some more information. Is that cool? Okay, awesome. I'm going to call you tomorrow. What time is good? After 5? Okay, awesome. 5:30 tomorrow. Okay. All right, Kendall, great meeting you. Boom, I'm out. Okay? I just want to make a quick friend. Quick friend. All right? That's it. So compliment is big, especially on cold market. Compliment, see how you can help somebody like I did with the lady in the hair store, but compliment is very big, okay? Everybody wants a compliment. And last thing I'll say is just become your best self for 15 minutes a day. You don't automatically become the person that you want to become inside the world of Legal Shield, but if you can just focus on being your best self for 15 minutes a day when you're prospecting, become the best. Ask yourself, what does the best version of Victor look like? What does the best version of Mara look like? And if I only had to be that best version for 15 minutes a day, what would that best version of Mara look like? And then eventually you'll become that best version in 15 minutes, in 30 minutes, in an hour, in 2 hours, and then it will just become who you are and how you breathe and how you live in business. So I hope that's helpful. Mr. and Mrs. Acoin, there's so much to talk about with prospecting, contacting, inviting, but I'm on a roll. So I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. That was awesome.
April,
I mean, look at all the comments. I mean, I'm telling you, in that short little bit of time, you empowered the Performance Family team.
Yeah, here's what happened. You just closed that skill gap. Everybody, that's a big skill gap, and you just helped close that skill gap. I will add one other thing, April, and when you go into networking groups, you need to plan out something before you go. And the best way to go there is to get there early. You want to get the first 1 or 2 people there, and you want to talk to whoever's putting the event on and say, listen, I'm brand new. I just moved to town, or this is my first time here. I want to know if there's anything I can help you with. Can I help you check people in? And you want to just get there early. If you walk in late, everybody's already in conversations.
Right.
Little bundles, and you feel odd walking up to them. But if you're one of the first ones there, and you ask, listen, do you mind if I, volunteer to welcome people or sit at the desk and help check them in or put name tags or, walk around with food or whatever. The other thing is get as close to the food line and drink lines as you can, because that's where you have time to talk to people, because they turn around and look at each other and talk, and you can compliment them on their clothes and stuff. And remember always that you're there to staff your company.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the event planner's there and you get there and they're there and you volunteer to do something, they, before everybody starts walking in, who are some of the key players here? And find out who the key players are. And if you do that casually, they'll really do it. I have walked into meetings that have been going on for half hour or even 15 minutes, and people are already bundled up, and you feel like the odd man out. And always stand to the side of somebody and talk. Never stand right in front of them and talk, because it's combative when you stand in front of them. Mm-hmm. You always stand a little to the side and turn toward them, but not in front of them. That's a combative situation. And so there's a lot of things to learn just before you go. Get there early, volunteer, and then when the next person walks in, they want somebody to talk to, and you're the one there. And then you can ask them, tell them you're new and you're just wanting to come and meet some new people, and ask them, who are some of the people that normally come here, so that when they get there, you can go meet them. Say, I'd love to meet them when they come in. If you don't mind, introduce me. I just wanted to throw that in because that was some of the best training I have ever heard. And if you can get prepared, it'll close that skill gap that all of us start out with. None of us are made to do that. And so I think we picked the right person to do this training.
We sure did.
April Hurst, you knocked it out of the park. That was
a
absolute home run, girl.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yep,
man.
Absolutely. And all of y'all send April something. Thank her.